My name is Zell Crampton. I'm the founder of DIGGS. We are the leader in innovative and high-quality pet containment products, best known for our crates and kennels. What we're trying to do is change the safety, quality, and design innovation in pet products today. I like to learn to tinker with products. I was very obsessed with design and engineering and how things work, what made a good design versus a bad design. Spent the next part of my career doing global supply chain and manufacturing, learning how to make products, how to move products around the world. And all this time I was a lifelong animal lover, pet lover, but that was like a hobby. Always had dogs my whole life. In 2011, while pursuing my MBA, people were changing their behaviors towards their pets. They're treating them more like family. So it was a huge opportunity in the space. So while business school, I actually tried to launch two different pet businesses. I then went to McKinsey, which is where I spent a few years sort of refining business skills and learning about exploring different opportunities. But all the while, I was very fascinated with the pet industry and was constantly thinking about different pet businesses on nights and weekends. And then in 2016, I adopted my dog, Louise, and sort of had an aha moment because I had been very focused on pet food and pet treats and pet services like vets and boarding, like a lot of folks who are getting into the pet space were doing at the time. There was a big gap in the market. They were ugly, they were unsafe, it didn't work very well, there was no brands, everything was very private label. And when I could compare consumer products in adjacent consumer categories, Dyson vacuums, Uppa baby strollers, or simple human trash cans, Yeti coolers, they took essentially commoditized, boring durables categories and elevated them through fantastic product design and branding. And I said to myself, given the way we think about our pets, we treat them like our family, we care about them so much, there's so many issues with these products, there must be a brand like that in the pet space. It took about 2 years to get to market because I had to come up with the idea. I had to find smart engineers and designers to help me. I had to find manufacturing. I had to raise a little bit of money. It was a big project. But ultimately, we got to market in 2018 with a Kickstarter. And we launched with a dog crate called Revel. Revel was meant to be short for revolution because it was changing all aspects of a dog crate. We launched it in one size and one color because that's all we had enough money to do at the time. We raised a little bit of family and friends on Kickstarter and then on direct-to-consumer later that year. And very quickly we realized it was a product market fit. People were really excited about what we were doing, what we were bringing to market. From there it just grew. 2019 was our first full year. We added Amazon as a channel. We added a second size of our dog crate. 2020 rolled around and my goodness, it was like exploded. We grew, I think, 400% that year during the pandemic. 2020 came and we grew even faster. I think it was maybe 500% growth that year because it was just a wild time. And then 2022 came and 23, and we actually slightly had to pivot the business towards a more omni-channel business. So really focus on wholesale. We expanded eventually with new products into big programs at PetSmart and Walmart and Costco and pet specialty retailers like Pet Food Express. For better or for worse, and they could argue both ways, a company like ours does need funding to grow. When you build a product with big plastic parts, you need hundreds of thousands of dollars in molding costs. So it's like to go set up production, you can't just snap your fingers and take your little bit of savings. You need some money to do that. We used a Kickstarter early on to try to fund a lot of what we were building between the capital expenditures and the inventory, but that only gets you so far because then you're hamstrung in terms of your ability to hire the right people, to do good marketing, to tell your story, to be successful in business. So there's just a lot of uses of cash for a business like ours. The benefit of that is once you're in, it actually keeps other people, your competitors out a little bit because of the cost. But at some point, a business like ours, especially with the growth potential that we showed, was you were going to need capital to meet that growth. We are growing several 100% in 2020 and 2021. The only way you could grow that much is if you have enough inventory. And so that's a lot of cash. And so it was pretty clear to us that we needed to raise money in order to meet the demand and to grow the business. My experience and what I've seen from other founders and other businesses, it's never a straight line, or rarely is. It's usually some sort of ups and downs, and it takes twice as long and twice as expensive as you actually originally imagined. And so you have to assume that if you bring on an investor, they're going to be with you on that journey for a while, and they're going to be either a great unlock for you, both in terms of capital, but also in terms of expertise, networks, that kind of stuff, or they could be an impediment, right? In terms of, disagreeing with the vision, disagreeing with the path forward, not being supported when things get tough. So I think choosing your investor wisely is really important. That being said, sometimes, especially companies early stage, don't have as many options as they would like. And so sometimes you have to go with your gut. Do the risks of choosing an investor outweigh the benefits, or vice versa? So the relationship with Clearco started a couple years ago. Like any consumer products business, that's growing, you're constantly in need of supportive capital to grow the business, whether that's in the form of inventory or help with receivables, or to just extra capital spent on marketing because it's that efficient. And so we started a relationship with Clearco a couple of years ago, and we had a great feeling with the team. But then in 2024, our primary lender was experiencing a lot of difficulties, and Clearco was there to help transition away from that lender. And we're very grateful for the support because it was timely, it was great partnership, and it allowed us to avoid any problems in the business by having Clearco there to support us in the transition. And ever since then, we've been great partners, and I really appreciate all the support. And there's constantly discussions about new capital and more ways to support the business. And I've got a chance to know Andrew Curtis, the CEO, and love working with him and appreciate the partnership and support for the business.